Aethersynthesis Notes. Aethersynthesis. This is a new word I created for the poem. I fashioned another word for the more usual photosynthesis so as to make a comparison between a mythopoetic explanation of existence and modern scientific views of reality. Aether is the ancient Greek word for the region we now refer to as outer space. The ancients originally thought that this region had an atmosphere like our own, only thinner and more rarefied. I think my word for photosynthesis, therefore, highlights the mysterious quasi-scientific side of the process of making energy out of thin air. The usual word, photosynthesis, doesn't seem to relate the very miraculous seeming quality of the scientific discovery of carbon and light reactions in plant life. Electromagnetic waves. Light is composed of electromagnetic particles of energy that change their characteristics, sometimes becoming more like waves than particles. Light is part of the electromagnetic energy band, as are radio waves and X-rays. Light itself is composed of three primary colors or wavelengths. These colors are violet, yellow, and red. Physical objects reflect the light waves of the spectrum that they do not absorb. Objects appear the shades of the colors they reflect. Light and dark reactions. Photosynthesis occurs in different stages. The first stage is a light-dependent process requiring the direct energy of sunlight to make energy-carrying molecules that are necessary for the dark or light-independent process. The light reaction occurs when sunlight strikes chlorophyll in such a way as to excite electrons to a higher energy level. The next process of photosynthesis is the light-independent process, or dark reaction, that uses the products of the light reaction to form carbohydrates. 6H2O plus 6CO2 equals C6H12O6 plus 6O2. This is the chemical formula of the complete carbon reaction that happens during photosynthesis. Melvin Calvin. Mr. Calvin was the biologist who first mapped the carbon reaction of photosynthesis in its entirety. In the Hindu religion, this word refers to the first procreative sound uttered by God, and which was the primal impulse of energy that developed into the cosmos. Queen Kalikayi. The Hindu goddess thought by some of her devotees to be the creatrix of the universe. Nama. This is a Hindu word translating as not mine, yours. This word is often used in mantras, sacred chants, to speak of the goddess. Octagon. This refers to the yantra of the goddess Kali, a sacred artistic diagram that frequently takes the shape of a geometric design. Giverny. This is a town in France where Claude Monet lived. It is also where he painted his series of works featuring water lilies as a subject. Sunflowers yearn for the limit. Vincent van Gogh, the great Dutch post-impressionist, painted a most beautiful interpretation of a sunflower. Hesiod. Hesiod was one of the earliest ancient Greek poets. He wrote in the Archaic, when the Homeric poems were set down in writing. One of his more famous poems is the Theogony, which describes the ancient Greek mythological cosmogony, or how the cosmos was created and the gods first came into being. Stygian Raja Prince. This refers to the Hindu god Shiva Nataraja. Shiva dances the universe into being through successive cycles of creation and destruction. One of Shiva's sacred animals is the cobra. Shiva is shown in religious art as having a bright halo. Rene Descartes. Descartes was a French philosopher and mathematician of the 17th century who speculated upon the nature of existence. His famous theorem, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, is often quoted. He is also well known for developing the coordinate system of XY used in analytic geometry. Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Leeuwenhoek was a Dutch lens maker and a scientist of the 17th century who developed the first lenses for use in microscopes. Also, after producing lenses of greater magnification, he then used them to study the inner structure of plants and animals. Rachel Reich. Reich was a Dutch painter of the late 17th century and early 18th century who is known as the most masterful painter of the still life, Dutch still even. Her career is thought to be the peak of the Dutch tradition of still even painting. Anna Maria Merian. Merian was a Dutch painter of the same era as Rachel Reich. She also painted still life and did many of her paintings to illustrate scientific publications of a biological nature. She was also the first scientist to discover the procreative life cycle of insects. Godlike swimmer. This describes Mark Spitz, the 1972 gold medal winner in Olympic swimming. It also refers to the Spitzer Space Telescope. Feathered serpent. The Aztec god Quetzalcoatl was depicted as a feathered serpent in temple sculptures. This phrase also refers to the dust nebula in Serpens, which is a group of stars in our galaxy. Pati, Pasu, Pasa. These are the Hindu words for Lord, souls, and existence. These words are used to describe the categories of our existence in Saiva Siddhanta theology. Use your head. Learn how to operate your brain. This is a statement made by Timothy Leary. He offered this guidance in one of his videos. The video is titled, How to Operate Your Brain. Fields of Ka. The word Ka comes from the ancient Egyptian language and religion. The ancient Egyptians thought that the soul was composed of three different spirits, the Ba, the Ka, and the Ku. The Ba was the soul. The Ka was the ghost of the deceased. The Ku was a divine element of the soul, also described as the luminous. The Egyptians believed that the Ba and the Ku were destined to join Ra, the sun god, in the underworld. The underworld which lay in the west, where the sun disappeared at nightfall.